The black sky was quiet. Stars looked down at the broken planet like cold, silent watchers. A small ship moved fast, but something was wrong. Inside the ship, a young human pilot, Eli, was trying to stay calm. System error. Engine damaged. Crash landing in 30 seconds, said the voice of the ship's AI. Eli gripped the controls. His heart beat fast. He had trained for many things, but not this. Not crashing alone on a forgotten planet, the ship hit the ground hard. Dust flew into the air. Metal bent and burned. Then, silence. A few hours passed. Eli woke up with a sharp pain in his shoulder. But he was alive. He opened the hatch and stepped outside. What he saw shocked him. The planet was dead. Buildings were broken. Towers had fallen. It looked like a war had happened here long ago. Black smoke still rose from deep cracks in the ground. The air was dry, the sky dark red. Eli walked through the ruins slowly, looking for help, water, anything. As he turned a corner, he suddenly stopped. There was movement in the shadows, a whisper. "Don't touch me, human." He turned fast and raised his small light. His eyes widened. A girl was sitting on the ground, half hidden behind a broken wall. She looked young, maybe 17 or 18. Her skin was gray, not human. Her long, white hair was covered in ash. Her clothes were torn. Her body was shaking. She looked like a ghost from the past. I won't hurt you," Eli said carefully. She didn't answer. She just looked at him with tired, glowing eyes. "Who are you?" Eli asked again. The girl tried to stand, but her legs were weak. She fell forward. Without thinking, Eli rushed and caught her in his arms. "Don't touch me," she whispered again. "I'm too dirty." Her voice was soft. Her lips were dry. Her hands were cold, but even as she said the words, she held onto his hand. She didn't let go. Eli felt confused. "It's okay. You're safe now," he said. "No one is safe here," she replied. "Not anymore." Eli looked around. The place felt heavy, like it was full of pain and memories that didn't want to be remembered. "What's your name?" he asked gently. She looked away. "Leora," she whispered. Then she passed out in his arms. Eli carried her back to his crashed ship. He gave her water, covered her in a blanket, and started a small fire. As she slept, he looked at her. Her skin had strange patterns like natural marks or symbols. She was clearly not human, but she didn't look like the monsters they talked about in training. She looked broken, like she had been through something terrible. Hours passed. The fire burned low. Leora spoke again, eyes still closed. "You shouldn't be here. They'll come back if they know a human is here." Eli leaned closer. "Who will come back?" Leora opened her eyes slowly. She stared at the ceiling of the ship. "The ones who destroyed this place. The ones who made me dirty." Eli's heart sank. "Was it humans?" Leora didn't answer. But the look in her eyes said everything. Eli stood up, walked outside, and looked at the stars. He had never heard of a war here. In school, they said this planet was dead, empty. They didn't say anything about survivors. They didn't say anything about a girl with ash on her face and sadness in her eyes. He looked back at the ship. Leora was still holding his hand. Even in her sleep. "Why are you holding on?" he whispered to himself. "If you're so afraid of me?" But deep inside, he knew the answer. She didn't want to die alone, and maybe she didn't really hate humans. Maybe she was just waiting for one to finally listen. Eli sat beside her. He didn't pull his hand away. Outside, the wind moved through the ruins. Something had survived the war, something with a story, and now the story had just begun. Opening scene, Leora's dream. She was running. The sky was full of fire. The ground cracked behind her. Buildings fell like paper. She ran through smoke and screams, calling names, voices lost in explosions. "Mama! Papa!" Leora turned, saw her father's hand reaching from rubble. Then nothing. Only silence. She opened her eyes, gasping, back in the ship. Present time. The small ship was still. Inside, Leora woke up slowly, covered in a thin blanket. Her body hurt. Her mind felt heavy. But her hand was still holding something warm. She looked down. Eli had fallen asleep on the floor, sitting next to her. His hand was in hers, just like before. She watched him for a moment. "Why are you still here, human?" Her whisper was barely a sound. But Eli opened his eyes. "Couldn't leave you alone," he said, sitting up. "You should have," she replied. "You didn't let go," Eli smiled. She looked away. "That was a mistake." Eli stood and opened a food pack. He offered it to her. Leora stared at it for a while, then took it without a word. She ate slowly. Like someone who had forgotten what food tasted like, after a long silence, she finally spoke. "You think I'm just a survivor, don't you?" "Aren't you?" Eli asked. Leora shook her head. "No, survivors are lucky." "I wasn't lucky. I was left behind." Flashback. Leora's past, told by her voice became cold. Her eyes stared into space like watching ghosts. "This planet. My people called it Velis. It was full of life. We had flying cities. Gardens that grew. Without soil, our voices lit the night air. Then your kind came." Eli listened, unsure what to say. "They said they came in peace. Then they took our skies, our water, our sun. They called us hostile and burned what they couldn't understand." "But that's not what we're taught," Eli said. Quietly. Lior looked at him sharply. "Of course not. Do you think invaders tell the truth in their history books?" Eli felt his chest tighten. Could she be right? Was everything he learned a lie? "What happened to your people?" he asked. She touched a small metal chain around her neck. A broken charm hung from it. "Most died in the first strike. The rest captured. Taken somewhere off-world. I was a child. I hid in the tunnels. Alone? Yes." Her eyes filled with something deep. Not just sadness, a heavy, burning silence. "They called us dirty. Sod, we were too different to live." Eli looked down. Shame spread across his face. He had never met an alien before, and now the first one was telling him he might be part of a lie. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked softly. Lior answered with a question. "Why did you stay, human?" Eli didn't know. Maybe because she looked so broken. Maybe because something inside him wanted to believe she wasn't the enemy. "Because you didn't run," he finally said. "You should have hated me, but you didn't." She gave a small, sad smile. "Hate takes energy. I've been out of energy for a long time." New discovery, the hidden map. Suddenly a soft beeping came from Eli's pocket. He pulled out a scanner. It was detecting something underground, not far from the ship. "What's that?" Leora asked. "Could be tech?" "Maybe from your people." She stood slowly, her legs still weak. "Then we go." "But you walk behind me. This is my world, human." Scene end. Suspense build as they stepped out into the ruins. The wind picked up. Leora looked stronger now, not healed, but standing. Eli followed, but inside he was thinking, what if everything I knew was a lie? Ahead of them, deep beneath the ruins, something was waiting, not just answers, but truth, and truth has a cost. Opening scene. Beneath the ground, the stairs were broken. The air was dry. Dust fell from the ceiling with every step. Eli held the light. Leora walked ahead, her hand against the wall, guiding herself through memory, not sight. "This place was once a library," she whispered. Eli looked around. It didn't look like any library he had seen. There were no books, only old machines, crushed pillars, and strange glowing symbols carved into the stone. "What kind of library?" he asked. "A living one," she said softly. "It didn't store paper. It stored memories." They stopped at a round door, half buried in rubble. Leora brushed away dirt and placed her palm on a round silver plate. Nothing happened. "It only opens for your kind now," she said, stepping back. Eli hesitated. He placed his hand on the plate. The door clicked. Then it slid open with a deep hum, like something had just woken up. Inside the memory vault. Inside, the room was small. A soft blue light lit the walls. In the center stood a single chair, shaped from smooth black stone. Above it, a floating crystal spun slowly. Leora stepped forward. "This is it. The heart of my people's truth, our history, our voices." Eli stared at the crystal. How does it work? You sit. The crystal reads your mind. But it only shows the truth if your mind is open. What happens if it's not? Then you see nothing, or it shows you only what you want to see? Eli nodded slowly, then sat down. The crystal glowed brighter for a moment. Nothing. Then light filled the room. Eli's vision, the hidden history. He saw cities in the clouds, towers made of light. Leora's people, peaceful, beautiful, strange. Then ships came. Human ships, hundreds. A voice spoke, not from outside, but inside his own head. First contact, year 2733. Earth Command initiates resource plan. He saw images, handshakes. Then betrayal, humans dropping machines that poisoned rivers, soldiers capturing children. Fire swallowing forests. He saw a younger Leora, hiding under rubble. Her parents screaming, taken by men in black suits. Eli's heart raced. He wanted to look away, but the crystal held him. Then he heard the worst part. Operation Clean Sweep, final step, erase native memory. Archives. They tried to destroy the truth, but this crystal, this room, had survived. Back to reality. Eli reacts. The light faded. Eli opened his eyes. He was shaking. Leora stood quietly, watching. You saw it, didn't you? She asked. Eli nodded. Slowly, his voice cracked. We lied. All this time, Earth told us they were attacked, that they had to fight. But you didn't, she said. He looked down, ashamed. They'll erase this too, won't they, if they find it? Leora stepped closer. That's why we must move it. Protect it. How? The crystal can be copied. Once. I need you to carry it. They won't expect a human to protect. Alien memory. Eli looked at the spinning crystal. You trust me with this? Leora's face was calm. You stayed. You listened. You didn't let go of my hand. He stood up and reached toward the crystal. It floated gently into his palm. And the light faded again. New threat, the signal detected. Suddenly, Eli's wrist device beeped. He checked it and froze. What is it? Leora asked. A signal. Human ship, landing orbit. She stepped back. They're coming. For me, or for you? Neither of them answered. Because both knew this was no rescue mission. Scene end. Suspense build. As they left the vault. The crystal safely hidden, Leora spoke softly. This memory is not just ours anymore. Now it belongs to you too. Eli looked back once at the place that held the truth the world was never meant to see. And he made a silent promise. If Earth wanted to silence her story again, they'd have to silence him too. Opening scene, Leora's father's voice. Leora, if you hear this, it means I am gone. The voice was calm, but full of love. Leora stood frozen, her eyes wide, her breathing shallow. We tried to protect you. We hid you when the sky burned. I hope you found this place one day. The voice came from a small cube, an old message. Device found near the memory vault. Eli watched her from the side, saying nothing. The message continued. Don't hate them all. Some humans will lie, but some will listen. Maybe one will find you. The cube went silent. Leora fell to her knees, seeing shift inside the crashed ship. Later, back in the wrecked ship, Leora sat in silence. Her eyes stared at nothing. Eli placed a blanket over her shoulders. Was that your father? He asked softly. She nodded once. I haven't heard his voice in 15 years. He sounded kind. He was, she said. He believed in peace, even when peace was dead. She finally turned to look at Eli. Now tell me, human, do you still believe your people were heroes? Eli didn't answer right away. He looked down at his hands. I believed the stories. I wanted to be part of something good. Leora's voice was cold now. And what are you a part of now? Eli looked her in the eyes. A lie. Memory crystal? The second vision? They activated the crystal again? This time together. It showed a camp, not a prison, not a war zone, a research station. Eli's own people had kept survivors there, Leora's people. Used them to study alien DNA, to develop new weapons, quiet, hidden, unspoken, and in the background, a small girl with white hair, locked in a cage. Eli stepped back in horror. That was you? Leora didn't speak. The memory faded. She turned away. Now you understand why I called myself dirty. They made you feel that way. They made me believe it. She touched her own arms as if the dirt of history was still there, still crawling under her skin. Conflict, Eli's guilt. Eli grabbed a piece of metal and threw it across the ship. It hit the wall with a loud crash. Why didn't anyone tell us? Why did we lie to our own people? Leora didn't flinch. Because truth breaks more than bones. It breaks pride, power. They didn't just kill your world. They erased it. Yes, she whispered. And now they're coming to erase me. Incoming signal, Earth command, a blinking light on Eli's wrist, a message from his command. Pilot Eli, respond. We've located your beacon. Rescue ship inbound. Confirm survival. Leora looked at him. Will you answer them? They'll come anyway, he said, whether the first answer or not. Then they'll find me. Eli stood still. Not if we run. And go where? Anywhere. Anywhere with truth. Emotional climax, Leora's choice. Leora walked outside. The wind was cold. The sky was darker now. Eli followed. She looked up at the stars. You asked why I held your hand? Yes. She turned toward him. Because in that moment, I remembered hope. She stepped closer. I hated your kind. I still might. But you listened. Eli looked away, guilt still in his eyes. I don't deserve that hope. She reached out slowly and took his hand again. Then earn it. Scene end. A new mission. They stood together, two broken pieces of two broken worlds. Behind them, ashes, pain, memory, ahead, danger, truth, and maybe change. Eli held the crystal close to his chest. They can burn a planet, he thought. But they can't burn the truth forever. The rescue ship was coming, but this time, Eli wasn't sure he wanted to be saved. Opening scene, a strange rain, for the first time in years. It rained, but it wasn't water. Ash. Tiny gray flakes drifted down from the sky, soft and slow, like a quiet snowfall. Lior stood outside the ship, her head tilted up, eyes closed. This happened the day the sky fell, she whispered. The rain came after the fire. Eli stood behind her, watching the sky darken. You think it's a sign? He asked. No, she said. It's a memory. The message, a cold voice from above. Suddenly, Eli's comlink crackled. This is Commander Weller of the Earth Retrieval Unit. Pilot Eli 4-9, respond immediately. Eli looked at Leora. Her face had gone still, her jaw clenched. They found us, she said. Eli pressed the button but didn't speak. You have 10 minutes to prepare for extraction, the voice continued. If you've made contact with any local entity, report it now. Failure to comply will be treated as treason. The message ended. Eli didn't move. Did he say treason? He asked. Leora's voice was calm. Yes, because they already know. Flashback insert, the red file. Earlier that day, Eli had opened a hidden file inside the memory crystal, marked in red, encoded in Earth military format. It was a kill order. A plan, code name, Silent Dust, operation goal, eliminate final native subject, wipe all remaining ruins, recover any human asset, no witnesses. And Leora's picture was at the top. Back to present, preparing for arrival, Eli and Leora stood in silence. Then Eli spoke. They're not coming to rescue. They're coming to finish what they started. I told you, she said. They don't leave survivors. Then we can't be here when they land. Leora didn't move. Where will we go, Eli? I've only known war, hiding, running. I'm tired. Eli touched the pouch on his chest, the crystal, still glowing faintly. We don't run for ourselves. We run for the truth. We run for what's inside this. She looked at him. And what will you do if they shoot you for helping me? Then I'll die holding your hand, just like I promised. Her eyes softened. For just a second, cut to the sky breaks open, the clouds above split. A long black ship pierced the air like a blade. It didn't roar. It hummed, quiet, cold. Eli and Leora backed into the ruins. A voice boomed from above. Pilot Eli 4-9. Step forward. Your signal confirms life signs of an unauthorized entity. You have violated Directive 17. They scanned us, Leora said. They know I'm here. Eli stepped forward. He activated the crystal in his hand. Bright light shot upward, sending a data beam into space. "What did you do?" she gasped. "I sent everything to Earth's open networks. If they kill us now, the truth still gets out." Confrontation. The commander lands. A door opened on the ship. A group of soldiers marched down. In the center, Commander Weller. Tall, sharp eyes. Metal arm. He looked straight at Eli. "You sent a signal? I sent the truth." Weller raised his weapon. "Then you're no longer one of us." He turned his gaze to Leora. "You should have died in the first purge." Eli stepped between them. "If you want her, you'll have to kill me first." Weller didn't blink. "That can be arranged." Twist. Leora speaks the code suddenly. Leora stepped forward and said something in her native language. The ground trembled. Old machines deep in the ruins began to hum. Eli looked around, shocked. "What did you do? My people may be gone, but our world is still listening." A giant blue light exploded from the ground, a defense tower rising, targeting the black ship. Weller looked up, eyes wide. "Impossible. You erased our history," she said, "but not our fire." Scene end? War or escape? Explosions shook the sky. The ruins lit up. The war was not over. It was only waiting for someone brave enough to light the first flame again. Eli grabbed Leora's hand. "Let's finish what your people started." And for the first time, Leora smiled, not with joy, but with strength. Opening scene. Inside Eli's mind, the choice: stand or escape. That question echoed in Eli's head like a war drum. Fight with her, or walk away, be a traitor to Earth, or a coward to truth, hold her hand, or save your own skin. Outside, the ruins burned. Behind him, Leora stood with fire in her eyes. In front of him, the Earth soldiers raised their rifles again. He had 10 seconds to decide who he was. Flashback, one day before the crash. Stay loyal, his captain had told him. Truth changes. Orders don't. Eli had nodded back then. But now, those words tasted like poison. Back to present. Earth forces approach. Commander Weller shouted over the roar of fire and falling debris. "Surrender the alien and the crystal, Eli. We'll lie about your disobedience. You'll go home. No prison, no record." Leora's fingers wrapped tighter around his hand. She didn't speak, she didn't beg. She simply waited. She had spent years hiding, surviving. She had no more words left. Now it was Eli's turn to speak. Eli's turning point, the stand. He took one step forward, then another. He looked at Weller, his former commander, his teacher, his leader. "You taught me to follow orders," Eli said, "but you never taught me to question them." He held up the memory crystal, glowing bright. In his palm, "This is not just her truth. This is my truth now." Weller's eyes narrowed. "Then you've already chosen your grave?" Eli turned to Leora. "We stand," Leora's answer, her first command. Leora nodded once. She raised her hand toward the ruined tower again, speaking in her native tongue. The ground shook. Ancient defense bots, long-buried machines made of stone and metal, rose from underground. Their eyes glowed blue. "My people didn't build weapons to conquer," she said. "They built them to survive." Tension breaks, battle begins. Weller gave the order, "Open fire." The world exploded in light and sound. Bullets cut through the ash. The defense bots returned fire. Buildings collapsed. One of the bots shielded Leora just in time. Eli ran beside her, dodging debris. He fired back, but his shots weren't meant to kill, just delay. "We can't hold forever," he shouted. "Then we don't," Leora answered. The plan, escape or death. Leora led him to a hidden tunnel below the tower. "My people use this for evacuation," she said. "It leads to the northern ridge. If we make it there, we disappear. And the crystal? We take it, we take the story, we let others see. Then maybe ... someone will care." Underground, quiet moment amid chaos. As the battle raged above, the tunnel was silent. Just them, their footsteps, their breathing, and one question hanging between them. "If we make it out," Eli asked, "what happens next?" Leora didn't answer right away. Then she said, "I tell the universe what they did to us. You help me. And if no one believes?" Then we live long enough to remind them again. Back above, Weller watches them vanish. Commander Weller stood among his fallen troops. He stared at the collapsed tunnel entrance, smoke rising from the ground. Coward, he muttered. He chose a corpse over a future. His second-in-command approached. Sir, the data stream went live. We couldn't block it in time. Weller's face turned cold. Then we silence it another way. He turned toward the sky. Send word to Earth. The boy and the alien are now classified as hostile threats. Scene end. The final line. Deep in the tunnel, Leora leaned against the wall, breathing hard. She looked at Eli. You didn't have to stay. Eli looked. Ahead, not turning. No, he said, but I did. Because standing with her didn't feel like rebellion. It felt like the first honest thing he had ever done. Opening scene. The last flame, a single flame, burned in the dark. It wasn't large. It wasn't bright, but it refused to go out. Leora watched it from inside a cave on the northern ridge. Her eyes were tired, her body thin, but her back was straight. Her hands were steady. Eli sat beside her, working on a transmitter, a small, fragile machine made from the remains of human tech. An alien memory. They had been hiding for 5 days. 5 days since the firestorm. 5 days since Eli chose her over everything. 5 days since the truth left this world and began its journey to the stars. Will they listen? Leora asked quietly. I don't know, Eli answered, but they'll hear us. Flashback? A message for the future. Earlier that morning, Eli had recorded a final message. Short, honest, human. My name is Eli. I was born on Earth. I was told lies. I believed them. But then I met someone who carried the truth inside her even when the world tried to burn it. Her name is Leora. Her people didn't die in silence. And now, neither will she. He uploaded the message into the crystal's final data, burst and launched it into orbit using the old alien tower, now almost completely collapsed. Back in the cave. Leora's confession. Leora broke the silence. When I said, don't touch me, I'm too dirty, I wasn't talking about my body. Eli turned to her, waiting. I meant my heart, my hope. I thought it was poisoned. It wasn't, Eli said softly. No, she replied, her voice low, because you held it. She reached out again and took his hand. Her grip was still gentle but no longer afraid. You never let go. Incoming light, a new signal. Suddenly the transmitter beeped. A new signal, a reply. Eli and Leora stared at each other. Someone heard us, Eli whispered. He activated the SCRE. Pixelated face appeared, not human. Gray skin, wide eyes, peaceful. To the one called Leora. And the human who walks beside her, we received your truth. And we remember your kind. You are not alone. Leora covered her mouth with her hand. Her eyes filled with tears. Not from pain this time. From relief. Back on Earth, the aftermath, far away. Back on Earth, the transmission reached billions. The data leaked faster than military sensors could delete it. Footage, faces, names, crimes buried in dust, now shown in light. Some denied it, some wept, some marched. A movement began, not for war, but for remembering. The words repeated across every corner of the network. She never let go. Final moments, peace, finally. In the mountains, weeks passed. The air began to clear. Flowers grew where ruins once lay. A quiet wind passed over the land, as if the planet itself was breathing. Again, Leora and Eli stood on a cliff, looking at the stars. Do you miss Earth? She asked. Sometimes, he said. But now I have something better. What's that? He looked at her. A reason. She smiled, not the sad smile from before, a real one. Closing line, a promise. They stood hand in hand, watching the stars move slowly across the sky, and though the world had tried to tear them apart, though truth had nearly died in the fire, though their names might be forgotten by history, they remembered each other. They held on, and neither one ever let go.